somewhere. Marine biology and offshore wind farms. Okay, I've only been with Rob Australia now about 4 or 5 weeks. Originally, I was with a Danish oil and gas company building offshore wind farms across the whole of Europe, so Norway, if you can count it as Europe, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Holland, France, and also on the coast of the UK. Who am I? I'm a marine biologist that comes from a farm in Cambridgeshire. I've got all farming and didn't really want to take the same route or go and fly aircraft like my dad and various other people. And I did a degree in marine biology. Could I get a job? No, I couldn't. So I went to Greenwich University, met Bob 7.25 years ago now, who was my tutor there, and came away with a degree in offshore engineering. And now I've been in offshore renewables ever since 2005. My specialist areas are looking at things that live on the seafloor or above the seafloor, and also high resolution aerial bird surveys, but also that can be used for marine mammals, which we've started using over the last couple of years. Global temperatures. Now, has anybody been watching Frozen Planet over the last sort of 6 or 7 weeks? Yep. And did you see what happened in the news last week about the last episode? No? National Geographic and Discovery Channel refused to show the last episode of Frozen Planet, dictating that there is global warming happening because they don't believe it. But that's the American lifestyle for you. But we'll come back to Europe. It's been happening. 2006 was the hottest year on record. 10 of the hottest years have been since 1990. It is statistically significant, so it is happening. Current carbon models predict that it will rise by 6 degrees by 2100. Now, by that time, I will be pushing up daisies in a field somewhere, or feeding fish. But there's all the other future generations that are going to come from this. Predicted rise in sea levels between 9 to 88 centimetres by 2020 if we don't start to curb what we're doing. And there's plenty of UK global sites and UK coastal sites under threats. This will give you an idea. Back in 1990, when I was just a young whippersnapper, the major source of energy in the UK was coal. Most of these coal-fired power plants are still working today, so the Isle of Grain, Drax, other big ones, huge rate units as they are. You can see it's a large lump from coal, large lump from nuclear, and a smaller bit from oil. And then it slowly changed in 2000, things have moved to gas. This is where all the reasons why gas prices are going up, because it's becoming highly competitive, trying to get a lucrative hold of that market. You can see in 2000, little tiny bit of wind and a bit of hydro, and then slowly in 2009, there's a bit more. So the largest sector was consumer. You guys are the biggest consumer of electricity in the UK. Industry has nothing to do with it. Proportion generated from renewables in 2009 was 5.5%. Now there is a target by 2020 to get to 15%. It's a hell of an ask. The installed capacity rose 19% in 2009, and most of that was due to offshore wind. So, onshore or offshore? 2009, I was only looking at this last night. This was what I took as a snapshot from the slide last year. That was this time last year, and that was yesterday. So that's how many turbines have been installed since this time last year. So just under 300 turbines. Now if you say, where are these? This is a map for you, just sort of showing the current offshore sites. Now onshore there's lots of planning constraints and people don't like them because they don't like the look of them and don't do onshore. Too many troubles. So I've only done an offshore for the last 7 years. Now my area that I've worked in is mostly down in the Thames estuary on that big red lump called London Road down there. Now, and this is where I was last week, I was here, out at Dogger Bank. To give you an idea, from the closest point there to Teesside is 157 kilometres from shore. That's one very long power cable, never been done before. So, round one. These are a little taste of wind farms. You see one on the North Kent coastline, which is called Kentish Flats. There's one off North Wales. There's one off the eastern coast of Yarmouth as well, called Scroggy Sands. These were tasters, and there was a license around 1,100 megawatts, or 1.1 gigawatts. And then 2 years ago, they turned around and said, okay, well, there's some existing capacity. Would you like to expand them? So we wanted another 2 gigawatts of expansion. So that's about 3.1 gigawatts of electricity that supposedly will be generated from renewables. Around 2 sites. So this is the red ones. This is London Ray. We're down on the right there. Then you've got these sands, and there's a couple of other little blue ones down there in the Thames as well. And then up in the northwest in the Irish Sea as well. All of the shaded ones are around 2 sites. Now they're supposedly going to give us about 7.2 gigawatts. To put it in context, 2 years ago, the ones that the blue out ones, the Dogger Bank, Firth of Forth, Hornsea, Irish Sea, East Anglia Zone, that takes it to a whole new level. We're looking at 25,000 megawatts of electricity going to come from those sites. It's going to dwarf everything that's happened so far. And this, what you've got to remember, is back in 2002, there was only 30 turbines offshore stored in the whole of the UK off the North Wales coastline. So things have progressed massively fast here. So, now I have got any cash prizes, because I'm poor. How many houses do you reckon will be powered by one turbine? To the nearest 500. Any answers? No, because there's no cash. A standard offshore turbine is about 3.6 megawatts, which is what you'll see offshore at the moment, and that's about 7,500 houses. Now London Array, when it's fully installed up to its 4,000 megawatts, that will power about 85% of London, inside the M25. So there's quite a lot of power to come from these things. And to give you the idea of the size of the rotor diameters, not much has changed since about 2003, about 124 metres diameter. And to give you an idea of that, a standard 3.6 is about 111 metres diameter, and that's the same size as the London Eye. That's the same swept area as what you actually see encompassed within the London Eye. So these things are big. So, this is what I do. How to build an offshore wind farm in 4 easy steps. You apply to the Crown Estate for a bit of land. They give you a bit of land after a bit of a tender process and much arguments and things like that. You go out and you do some surveys. You write a big document called an Environmental Impact Assessment. These are the key documents that will say yes or no to the development of the wind farm through the planning process. It's a phenomenal amount of information that's got to go into it, but it's got to be the right information. Make it too big, and I'll chuck it out. It's a bit of a nightmare. Stage 2, you get consent from the government. You get a small amount of money, and to give you an idea, London Array for the first phase is just under £2 billion. It's going to cost to build that part of the wind farm, and another £1 billion for the second phase. You conduct some surveys, and this is one of my photos from back in February when I was out on the survey in the North Sea, and as you can see, it's not the nicest place to be. I'd much rather be in, say, Cuba or the Bahamas or somewhere like that. Then you buy some turbines and you buy some cables and you install a wind farm. Now this is a dinky installation vessel, this one here. You see the little vessel down to the right? That's the boat I'm on there at the moment. I was in that boat at that time when the photo was taken. And that boat is 20 metres long, so that's the length of this room. And that's a service vessel. And we are 25 metres, probably a little bit further away from the actual installation vessel. And that's 80 metres square. That's called the Sea Worker. Now the newest one that's just come along, or the two newest ones, the Adventure and the Discovery, are 168 metres and 142 metres in length. And they literally lift themselves out of the water, they put the base of the foundation on the floor, stick a big hammer on the top and smack it in, lock it out. And that's it. And then another vessel comes along and puts the turbine on. Sounds simple, but it's not very. Next step, generate some electricity and some income. One of these turbines will cost between about 5 to 6 million quid. It will pay itself back and start generating profit within about 4 years, somewhere around there. So don't believe what the paper's told you. And then afterwards, once it's installed, you conduct some more surveys to see if the wind farm is having any impact on birds or fish or worms or things like that. So what do I look at? Geophysical, mapping the seafloor. Benthics and epibenthix, posh name for things that live in the ground and on the ground. Fishery surveys, high-resolution bird surveys, metocean, that's to study the winds, waves, currents, temperatures, salinities, all the fancy things that go into hydrographic modelling. And the thing that I'm possibly going to start my PhD on is theoretical population modelling, which is what I've been studying for the last 4 years. There's plenty more. There's so many different areas to work on in the offshore renewable industry, it's just unreal. So seafloor bathymetry, just show you some bits of technology and kit. Everything offshore in the turbine world evolves around technology evolving. It has evolved so fast, I can't even keep up with it, and I'm a geek. This is a bit of kit called size scan sonar. It maps the seafloor. That's worth about, the edge tech's worth about 200,000 quid. And you chuck it out the back of the boat in order to survey one of the harshest environments in the offshore world. You go up and down mowing the lawn. So this is a site off the northeastern coast of Westernmost Rough. And then you get bathy contour maps. This is zone 2 sandbanks at London Array, which is where the wind farms will be. Benthix, 1950s trawler vessel, you chuck a grab over the side, and this is where your biology comes into it. Then you take these grabs to the labs, you then go through the grabs and you categorise all the species and the particle sizes, so you can build up something of an idea of what's living down there. Some grabs you just get crabs, like that, or lobsters or fish and things, and then you build up maps to actually classify what habitats are down there, each individual species associates itself with either mud or sand or gravel or things like that. And this is all new. Offshore renewables are providing more insight to what's actually going on the seafloor of the UK continental shelf than any other industry in Europe. The quantity of information is just huge. There's also protected species you find that are protected by law. This is by European law. So those funny sandy clumps that look like pieces of spaghetti stuck together, that's called Sabellaria or Reef Worm. And what it does is it builds a big old reef in the middle of an environment where there shouldn't be anything, and then everything just piles on top and lives on it. So you get lobsters and fishery nurseries, and then it's protected so you can't touch it, so you have to be really, really careful. And this is the sort of stuff that I'm looking for, so we're not going to cause a problem for any developers. Other things, this was taken on one of the dive surveys I was doing off the Eastern English Channel, just a little catshark or a dogfish. And high definition bird surveys. Now, who's got, say, a Canon EOS D SLR camera? Has everyone got one of those? Or are they too much? Anyone got a nice little Konos 10 megapixel camera? Yeah? Okay, to give you an idea, London Array number 1, the actual black line is about 250 square kilometres, so it's a big old site. In total, we surveyed nearly 1,500 square kilometres, and this was the plane after we landed, and we went back out after we had a cup of tea, and you can see all the ice forming on the aircraft. It was pretty horrific conditions, and this is when all the birds come over in the winter time, so we've got to try and get around it. Within that plane, there's now a new camera, and this particular company's now got 4 of these aircraft. The camera's about 86 megapixels. Each individual photo is just over 1.5 gigs in size, and we take 3,500 images per survey. And we do 2 surveys per month, for 6 months over the winter period. And in some sites in the UK, they're doing actual surveys twice a month, for 12 months of the year. So you can start to get an idea of the actual capacity of storage that you're needing, and the way that the technology is driving this offshore industry. And from this, within the images, you know exactly the height of the aircraft, you know exactly where the aircraft is, and we can georeference all marine mammals, we can georeference all the birds, everything, stuff that hasn't never been done before, and put them straight into a computer program so you can actually see exactly where they are in relation to the sandbanks, and currents, and fish, so you can build up all the mapping layers to actually see what's driving the distribution. We're going to do a bit of Where's Wally now. Where's the birds? Right up in the top left. And I'll give you bonus points if you can tell me what that bird is. This is a lower resolution photo. This is only about 30 megs. Do you see them down in your seafront? When you eat your burgers and they come along and nick it from your hands? And there's another one here. Yeah. Hiding down there with a motion blur on that one. And that's a great black-backed gull. They grow to about that big when they're standing upright, and they've got a wingspan of up to about 2 metres in size, so they're not exactly small. They'll quite happily munch on other birds, eggs, fish. They're opportunistic feeders. Then we've got another one. Quite happily hiding down in the bottom left. And that one is a gannet. Now there are only 2 known colonies in the whole of the UK where these birds breed. One's at Flamborough Head, which is just off Bridlington on the east coast, and the other one's up in Scotland. This is quite a good one. 4 little birds, but one of them is slightly different to the rest. And you can see the coloration. This was taken from 400 metres. The second one from the top, that's the male, and that's the female. So this is the sort of resolution of camera that we're now using to actually understand the species of birds that we've got out there. And finally, things get messy. You don't want to be on a boat in this sort of weather because you can't see where the birds are, you can't see the marine mammals. It's hiding down the bottom there. And this is all picked up by computer programming. No humans are involved in this at all, except in the quality process afterwards. This is all custom designed software. It's what, if you're doing computer degrees, we need designing. And finally, one of my lovely little favourites, what I'm studying for the last 4 or 5 years. That little thing there, you see its little feet poking out the back? And that's called a red-throated diver. And that was on the summer episode of Frozen Planet. There was a sort of 20-second shot of one of those. So conclusions of offshore bowls, it's just evolving so fast. I've been lecturing here now, what, at Christmas on 4 years now, is it? Something like that? And in 4 years things have changed so much. Now that round 3's announced, and I've just moved to Hascoding, I've just been given permission to build a team of 15 people that will work for me. I'm looking for 4 graduates that are going to be based in Exeter, Edinburgh, 2 in London. I'm looking for people that are more experienced. I'm looking for archaeologists. I'm looking for onshore planners. I'm looking for protected species experts onshore. So you can see that this is a job and an industry that's never going to disappear over the next 50 years. There's going to be so much of this, and there's so many opportunities. And you never know, I might be able to buy my 454 big block shape by the end of next year. And who says they're not pretty? So, thank you very much.